Ken, what was it like going through that drunk driving jury trial?
Is it running?
It's running.
Okay.
But we'll edit it.
Wait, let me get my thoughts together. I gotta get my
It's okay.
I gotta get my thoughts together. I'm going through this trial. Okay, well, going through the trial was it was a very stressful ordeal. It was very painstaking. I had to, it took 10 months. It was, very stressful. I don't know what I'm saying. I think something else to say.
Was it what you thought it would be?
No.
How was it different?
Well, I didn't realize how much tension it is in a courtroom. How much energy you put in a courtroom. When you go to a courtroom, there's just a lot of tension and energy in there. It just drains you every day. I didn't think it was going to be that. You watch court on TV, you just think it's pretty easy. They go in there and they talk about it for a few minutes or whatever, or even a couple of hours. You didn't think it. I didn't think it was going to take that much energy out of me, and I didn't think it was going to upset me for that long, or just be such of a burden on me for all those months.
Your first trial ended up in a hung jury. Did you ever consider pleading guilty to an impaired driving? Because they offered you that after the first trial, and they weren't making that offer before the first trial.
Yeah, they made that offer, I think, right after the first trial, and I did. We had time between the first trial and the second trial, so I did think about it. When I said I was going to think about it, I did think about it, but I didn't really feel. I felt like I had a good case, and I know I had a good lawyer working for me, so I decided to go on.
Mm-hmm. That was a tough decision, huh?
It was a very tough decision, but like I said, I had confidence. We had talked before. Me and Dan had talked before then, and he was very confident in the case, and so it made me very confident. So I decided to move forward.
What was it like in the courtroom that day when the jury, when you heard that they had a verdict and the jury came in? Tell us what was going through your mind at that point.
The first time or the second time?
No, the second time. We knew what the jury was going to say the first time when they came in.
Well, with the second case, I didn't think we had much of a chance. Like I said, we didn't have all our evidence was not there, and they seemed to make a harder case the second time. I guess they were, and we had less arguments. I noticed in the trial that a lot of the arguments that Dan was trying to make, that you were trying to make, they wouldn't let you finish the argument. For some reason, they would kind of say, you couldn't use that line of, or you couldn't bring certain things into the case. That it seemed to me you couldn't bring certain things into the case the second time that were allowed in the first time. You spent a lot of time, and maybe you don't have to take off, but you spent a lot of time talking to the judge and doing a lot of sidebar conversation, because it seemed like there was certain things you just couldn't, you didn't seem like you had this, they didn't allow you the freedom in the second trial as you had in the first trial. That was my perception of it. So I felt that, they were really trying to stick it to me, really. And so, and I think they were trying to use all the power they had. And so I didn't feel as good about the second time as the first time. On top of it, the second jury came back very quickly. I think it was only maybe a couple of hours or so.
It wasn't even that long. It was like 25, 30 minutes. We were in and out.
Yeah, because it was before lunch. Yeah, because
right.
We thought we were going to come back after lunch, and this was like even before lunch, and they called us back. So I said, oh wow, he just, and the last person you hear in the trial is the prosecutor. The prosecutor, he made his case last. So it seemed like that was the last thing that was on the jury's mind. And it seemed for them to come back so fast, you know, it just seemed like it was, originally I thought it was a bad sign.
When did your thoughts change?
Well, when they spoke the verdict, my thoughts changed. But up until then, I really thought it was bad. I thought it was bad because they came back quickly. The prosecutor had kind of hammered home his case. He actually was more animated in the second trial. I don't know if you remember the second trial when he was making his final argument. He was actually, you know, he got more animated into it, and you know, you never know how it's going to affect the jury, and the jury was listening to all of this, and then, you know, 30 minutes later, we're coming back with a verdict. You know, I didn't feel good.
But when you heard the two words "not guilty," did you start feeling better?
Oh, I felt very good. A whole lot better. I mean, it was great after hearing the not guilty. I mean, it was awesome. You know, I don't know how to express it, but you know, I have a lot of faith too. I have a lot of faith, and I think, you know, I prayed about it, and I think the prayers were answered.
I think they were too.
So, what else can I say?
Now, even though you haven't recommended Dan Ambrose to anybody in the last 18 months, would you give him a public endorsement? I
would definitely recommend Dan Ambrose as an attorney for anybody. I have given everybody I've known. I just don't know anyone that's really in need of an attorney right now. But people that I know, I've already told them about you, and they know you're a good attorney. They know that. A couple of my friends have actually met you. You know, I don't know if you remember Daryl had met you, and then
I know they came to the trial and testified.
And another friend of mine, Mamie, we came to your party. She met you, and I mentioned her to you, and and I've talked you up.
All right.
I've talked you up, but I mean, I don't really have to talk. If they were there, they would realize that. And Daryl was a different part of it, but the people that were there, they realized you were a very good attorney. And I don't know if you remember, even in the first trial, after the trial, a lot of the jurors, they wanted to get your card because they realized how good of a job you did. That was even in the first trial. I remember you saying that you went back there, you talked to them, and they wanted to keep in contact with you because you had done such a good job. And they could see that better than anybody. The jury can actually tell because they're listening to both sides more so. And if they were, and they felt that way about you, as well as I did, so they knew that you were doing an excellent job.
Well, people will be able to see because the major parts of the trial, like the opening statement and the cross-examination of that cop Wysocki guy. But, you know, the fact that they thought they'd just get away with it all. So people will be able to see it on, you know,